Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Clear Channel. I'm Anna Long-Stokes, and today we are diving into a topic that is both mysterious and incredibly natural, and that is clairvoyance. So, you have very likely heard of this term before, and maybe you have imagined psychics with crystal balls. Oh, wait, sort of have my own crystal ball here. Ooh. But here's the truth. So, clairvoyance is simply clear seeing, and we all have this ability. So, today I wanted to walk you through what clairvoyance really is, how it differs from your general intuition, and simple ways that you can begin developing this ability for yourself if you are new to discovering this or curious about it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is what is clairvoyance. Clairvoyance literally means clear seeing, and it is one of the four main intuitive channels alongside clairaudience, clear hearing, clairsentience, clear feeling, and claircognizance, clear knowing. So clairvoyance tends to show up as images in your mind's eye, flashes of symbols or colors, or even like little movies that may play behind your closed eyes or your open eyes. And it's not just for psychics. It's a very natural, intuitive channel that many people experience without even realizing that's what's happening. Throughout history, clairvoyance has been tied to mystics, seers, healers, and visionaries. But in modern times, we are reclaiming it as something that we can all access to support decision-making, emotional clarity, and just generally that spiritual connection that we all seek. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between intuition and clairvoyance. Intuition is your inner compass, your felt sense of knowing. It can speak through emotion, sensation, thought. It's often broad, sometimes subtle, and clairvoyance is a specific form of intuition that uses visual imagery to communicate this guidance. So all clairvoyance is intuitive, but not all intuition is clairvoyant. You might be intuitive without seeing anything, and that's completely valid. But if you do see imagery, flashes, colors, or symbols, you may already be tapping into clairvoyance, and maybe you just didn't know that's what it is. So how do you start awakening your clairvoyant channel? Well, here is a few practices that can help you begin. Okay, first off, guided visualization. This one is huge. If you could just spend 5 to 10 minutes a day with your eyes closed, imagining something simple, like a rose, a candle, your daydream, this strengthens the third eye and your mental imagery. If you think imagination and clairvoyance are different, think again. Clairvoyance and the depth of images we see is directly correlated to how well we are able to daydream and play in that same space of imagination. The main difference being that when you learn how to naturally, neutrally, and accurately read energy, you will be using the library of images from your imagination to make sense of the energy that is asking to be read or seen. Another way to begin cultivating this skill is by dream journaling. Keep a journal by your bed, write down dreams, even fragments of dreams. Your dream life is often your clairvoyance in action. Spirit speaks through symbols and messages, and so oftentimes it's the spirit world's best chance to get through to us. Just this week, I found myself pondering if I had an archangel that I worked with on a direct basis that I wasn't aware of. I heard another intuitive talking about this, and I had never thought about it. So I found myself when I was going to bed wondering about this. Now, I do work with Jesus and Mother Mary sometimes when I do healings, but I never think of them as my guides per se. That same night I had that thought, I ended up having a dream where I got all these tattoos, and I don't have any tattoos in real life. But one was a full body tattoo on my back. And when I went to look in the mirror to see that tattoo, and again, this is all within my dream, it was a huge picture of Jesus. And I remember feeling so happy and crying in my dream because I felt so loved. And I woke up right after and felt that this was a clear message from Jesus himself, reminding me that not only do we share the same energy, because we all do, we are all one. He reminded me that I am working with him on his team. You could say he branded me as one of his own. Now, ironically, you won't really hear me referring to myself as Christian, because I do disagree with much of how organized religion has interpreted messages from prophets. But that is a topic for a whole other day. Okay, so another way to develop your clairvoyance is by doing card pulls. This could be like oracle cards, tarot cards. And before flipping the card, you can close your eyes and ask, what do I see or sense? Begin to interpret. Maybe something comes through, and that when you flip, you are validated by that. But also, once you flip the card and see the image, close your eyes again or focus your gaze within the third eye and begin to open yourself up to what other images are coming up. This is a beautiful way to use cards as a bridge while you build your natural clairvoyant abilities. Another way is mindful observation. So simply doing things like looking out the window for a couple minutes and letting your eyes go soft, noticing what images arrive could help you develop this ability. Often clairvoyant impressions appear when we stop trying to see them. And you can ask yourself questions like, who is needing my help right now? And then who comes to mind? Or whose energy do I need to release so that we can both take our next step? Who comes to mind? That is your intuition. That is your clairvoyance. You could ask to see a picture of them. Just like when you're reading a book and your imagination begins to go wild, that's your clairvoyance, except for instead of being fed information from a book that is then giving you those images, your different chakras are picking up and sensing all the energy around you. And then it moves it up to that sixth chakra and begins projecting it out into your screen. Now, you can see your clairvoyant reading screen by closing your eyes and looking for it, or you can see it with your eyes open. A lot of people who are clairvoyant will see images with their eyes open. So if this is an intuitive talent you want to develop, doing things like just being mindful, not being on your phone, and allowing yourself to begin to play in that space, asking yourself questions internally, and just seeing what comes up in your mind's eye. So at the end of the day, know that you are not alone on this journey. Everyone has this ability. And if you are watching this video, it is likely that you are ready to work with this innate intuitive talent at a deeper level. I didn't discover my clairvoyance until I was in a meditation class, where once I finally cleared the energetic clutter from my space and began to use a specific framework to hone these skills, I realized that this was an art form. And just like any other art form, I could get as good at it as I wanted. So I've also had clients who have discovered this ability for themselves while doing things like driving, showering, or even just spacing out. One client of mine had multiple instances where he was driving and he, like, in his mind's eye, saw a herd of elk or deer in the road. And then he slowed down, turned the corner, turned the bend for them, and only to find that they were there in the road. So this is a blend of psychic premonition and precognition, as well as clairvoyance. A former student of mine used to see flashes of light and assumed it was like an eye strain problem that she needed help with. And then we realized it was her guides who were trying to communicate with her through light. So that small reframe really changed everything from her. If you've ever dismissed your visual impressions or thought, I'm just making this up, pause, because you're not. You are receiving. You just may not have been taught to interpret it yet. You don't need to become a professional psychic to benefit from clairvoyance. Most of my clairvoyant students who attend my year-long training choose not to become professional readers. Instead, they use their clairvoyance to create and destroy within their own lives so that they can have the relationships, careers, and that life path that they came here to have. You can use everyday clairvoyance to make decisions, really sense into the alignment in your life or work, to connect with your higher self or your spiritual team, to notice energetic patterns in yourself and others. That's very helpful for me as a mental health therapist. And perhaps most importantly, you can just use it to lean into trusting your inner truth even more. If you'd like to start exploring how to receive intuitive guidance, I invite you to take my free intuitive archetype quiz. You can discover your dominant intuitive type so that you can better understand how you work with energy and intuition in your everyday life. Also, a quick note to let you know that I have just announced the dates and details for my Inner Oracle Clairvoyant training. This is the third year in a row that I'm going to be hosting it. And if you feel called to develop your intuition and clairvoyance in particular in a safe, supportive group, then I invite you to learn more and book a free call to talk with me and see if it is an aligned next step for you. I will pop the link in the program description below. Okay, so leave me a comment or message and let me know. What is one way your clairvoyance has shown up in your life, even if you didn't recognize it at the time? Okay, thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you next week on the Clair channel.